The big room was quiet. Lots of aliens from different planets sat around a round table. They all looked worried. High Counselor Daho, a tall alien with blue skin, stood up. He waved his long arms to get everyone's attention. "Friends," Daho said in a deep voice, "we have a problem. Our space sensors found something new. It's big, and it's coming this way." The other aliens started to whisper. Some looked scared, others curious. Daho touched a button on the table. A big screen appeared in the air above them. It showed a picture of space with lots of stars. In the middle was a big dot, moving slowly. "What is it?" asked a small green alien named Unji. She was from a planet that liked peace. "Is it dangerous?" Daho shook his head. "We don't know yet. It's too far away to see clearly, but it's very big." Another alien, Taiwan, stood up. He had red scales and sharp teeth. "We should get our ships ready," he said, "just in case it's bad." The room got noisy. Everyone was talking at once. Some agreed with Taiwan. Others thought they should wait and see. Daho raised his hands. "Quiet, please," he said. "Let's not jump to conclusions. We need more information." Just then, a young alien ran into the room. She was breathing hard, like she had run a long way. "High Counselor," she said, "the thing in space. It's sending a message." Everyone got quiet again. They all looked at Daho. "Put it on the screen," Daho said. The picture of space disappeared. Instead, they saw a face. It looked strange to the aliens. It had 2 eyes, a nose, and a mouth, but the skin was a color they had never seen before. The alien wore a hat with a shiny badge on it. "Greetings," said the face. "I am Captain Jisoo of the UES Thunderchild. We come in peace from a planet called Earth." The aliens in the room looked at each other. None of them had heard of Earth before. "I am High Counselor Daho," said Daho. "Welcome to our part of space. We are the Galactic Council. We represent many planets and species." Captain Jisoo smiled. To some aliens, it looked friendly. To others, it looked scary. "We are glad to meet you," she said. "We have traveled far to find other life in the universe." Tae-Won stepped forward. "What is the purpose of your visit?" he asked. "And what kind of ship is the Thunderchild?" Jisoo's smile got bigger. "We are explorers," she said. "We want to learn about new cultures and make friends. The Thunderchild is our home in space. It's also how we protect ourselves if we meet danger." The aliens whispered to each other again. "Protect? Danger? What did that mean?" "We would like to meet with you," said Jisoo. "Can we bring our ship closer?" Daho looked at the other aliens. Some nodded, others shook their heads. He thought for a moment. "You may come closer," he said, "but please, move slowly. We are not used to visitors from so far away." Jisoo nodded. "Of course," she said, "we will approach slowly. You can watch us the whole time." The screen went dark. Daho turned to the others. "Friends," he said, "this is a big day. We are about to meet a new species. Let's be careful, but also open-minded. They might become good friends." Yeonji raised her hand. "What if they are not friendly?" she asked. "What if it's a trick?" Daho sighed. "That's why we'll be careful," he said. "But think about it. If they wanted to hurt us, why would they talk to us first?" The aliens nodded. It made sense. "Let's go to the big viewing room," said Daho. "We can watch the ship come closer from there." They all left the meeting room and went to another part of their space station. This new room had big windows that looked out into space. They could see the stars clearly. At first, they saw nothing new. Then, slowly, a shape appeared. It got bigger and bigger. The aliens gasped. They had never seen a ship like this before. It was huge, much bigger than any of their ships. It was long and gray, with big guns on the sides. Lights blinked all over it. It moved smoothly through space, like a big fish in water. "That's not just a ship," said Tadwan. His voice was quiet, but everyone heard him. "That's a battleship." The aliens looked at the Thunderchild with wide eyes. Some were scared, some were excited, but they all knew one thing: everything was about to change. The big room was very quiet. All the aliens stood still, looking out the big windows. The human ship, Thunderchild, was now very close. It was so big that it blocked out the stars behind it. Daeho, the blue alien leader, turned to the others. "We need to get ready," he said. "The humans will want to meet us soon." Eunji, the small green alien, looked worried. "But how do we talk to them? We don't know their language." Just then, a voice came from the speakers in the room. It was Captain Jisoo from the Thunderchild. "Galactic Council, this is Captain Jisoo. We're ready to meet. How would you like us to come over?" The aliens looked at each other, surprised. Somehow the humans could speak their language. Daeho stepped forward. "Captain Jisoo, we hear you. We have a big meeting room. Can you come there?" "Of course," said Jisoo. "We'll send a small ship with me and 2 of my crew. Is that okay?" Daeho nodded, then remembered the humans couldn't see him. "Yes, that's fine," he said. "We'll be waiting." The aliens watched as a small ship came out of the Thunderchild. It was shaped like an egg and moved fast. In just a few minutes, it reached their space station. Taiwan, the red scaly alien, went to meet the humans at the door. He had some guards with him, just in case. The door opened with a hiss. 3 humans walked in. They all wore blue uniforms with shiny badges. The one in front was Captain Jisoo. She was shorter than Taiwan, but walked with confidence. "Hello," said Jisoo, smiling. "Thank you for having us." Taiwan tried to smile back, but it looked more like he was showing his teeth. "Welcome," he said. "Please follow me." They walked through long hallways. The humans looked around with big eyes, interested in everything they saw. The alien guards watched them closely. Finally, they reached the big meeting room. All the other aliens were there, waiting. Some looked excited, others looked scared. No one knew what to expect. Daeho stepped forward. "Welcome to our station," he said. "I am High Counselor Daeho." Jisoo bowed her head a little. "Thank you, High Counselor. I'm Captain Jisoo. This is my science officer, Sungmin, and my security chief, Jabwa." The other 2 humans nodded and smiled. Eunji couldn't hold back her question. "How can you speak our language?" she asked. Sungmin, a tall human with glasses, answered. "We have a machine that learns languages very fast. It listened to your transmissions and taught us how to talk to you." The aliens looked impressed. Their own translators weren't that good. Daeho invited everyone to sit at the big table. The humans sat on one side, the aliens on the other. It was quiet for a moment. Then Jisoo spoke. "We come from a planet called Earth," she said. "It's very far from here. We've been traveling for a long time, looking for other intelligent life. And now you found us," said Tadwan. He still looked suspicious. "What do you want?" Jisoo smiled again. "We want to learn about you," she said, "and we hope you want to learn about us too. We believe that by working together, all of us can become better." Some of the aliens nodded. That sounded nice, but others still looked unsure. "Your ship," said Tadwan. "It's very big, and it has many weapons. Why do you need such a big battleship for a peaceful mission?" The room got very quiet. Everyone waited to hear what Jisoo would say. Jisoo looked serious. "Space can be dangerous," she said. "We didn't know what we might find out here. The Thunderchild is big, so it can carry everything we need for a long journey. And yes, it has weapons, but we only use them to protect ourselves." Daeho leaned forward. "Protect yourselves from what?" he asked. Jisoo looked at her crew members, then back at the aliens. "In our travels," she said, "we've seen evidence of a dangerous empire. They conquer other planets and don't care who they hurt. We built the Thunderchild to be ready, just in case we met them. The aliens started talking all at once. Some sounded scared, others angry. Daho raised his hands for quiet. "This is very serious," he said. "We need to know more about this empire. But first, let's continue our talks. We have much to learn about each other." Jisoo nodded. "We agree," she said. "We're happy to answer any questions you have." And so, the meeting went on. Humans and aliens talked for hours. They learned about each other's worlds, their science, their cultures. It was the start of something big, something that would change the galaxy forever. But in the back of everyone's minds was a worry. What was this dangerous empire? And when would they show up? After many hours of talking, the aliens were curious. They wanted to see the human ship up close. Captain Jisoo agreed to show them around. "We can take a small group," she said. "Who wants to come?" Daho, Taiwan, and Yeonji volunteered. They followed Jisoo and her crew to the small egg-shaped ship. As they flew towards the Thunderchild, the aliens got more and more excited. "It's so big," said Yeonji, her eyes wide. "How many people are on it?" "We have a crew of 5,000, said Jisoo. The aliens looked shocked. That was more than lived on their whole space station. The small ship entered a big opening in the side of the Thunderchild. When the doors closed behind them, the aliens saw many other small ships parked there. "This is our hangar," explained Sungmin. "We keep our fighter ships and transport ships here." Taewon looked interested. "Fighter ships?" he asked. "How many do you have?" Jisoo smiled. "Quite a few," she said, "but let's start the tour in a different place." They walked through long hallways. The aliens saw humans of all shapes and sizes. Some had dark skin, some light. Some were tall, others short. They all wore similar blue uniforms. "This is the main deck," said Jisoo. They entered a big room with lots of screens and buttons. Humans sat at different stations, working. Daho looked around, amazed. "What do you do here?" he asked. "This is where we control the ship," said Jisoo. "Navigation, communications, weapons, everything is run from here." At the word weapons, Taiwan's ears perked up. "Can we see the weapons?" he asked. Jisoo looked at him for a moment, then nodded. "Follow me," she said. They went down in an elevator. When the doors opened, the aliens gasped. They were in a long room with huge guns on both sides. "These are our main cannons," said Jaehwa, the security chief. "They can hit targets very far away." Taewon walked up to one of the guns. It was bigger than him. "What do they shoot?" he asked. "Energy beams," said Jaehwa. "Very powerful ones." Yeonji looked worried. "Why do you need such big guns?" she asked. Jisoo's face got serious. "Remember the dangerous empire we talked about," she said. "These are to protect us from them. We call them the Vorx." The aliens looked at each other. They had never heard of the Vorx. "Are they really that dangerous?" asked Daho. Jisoo nodded. "They destroy whole planets," she said. "We've seen the empty worlds they left behind." The room got very quiet. The aliens tried to imagine a force that could destroy planets. "But don't worry," said Jisoo. "We're here to help if they ever come this way." They continued the tour. The aliens saw the engine room, where big machines made the ship move. They saw the medical bay, where doctors could heal sick or hurt humans. They even saw the farms where the humans grew their own food. "You have everything here," said Yeonji. "It's like a floating city." Jisoo smiled. "That's a good way to think about it," she said. "We had to bring everything we might need for a long journey." As they walked, Taiwan kept looking at the weapons and the fighter ships. He seemed both impressed and worried. Finally, they came back to the hangar. It was time for the aliens to go back to their station. "Thank you for the tour," said Daho. "We learned a lot today." You're welcome, said Jisoo. We hope this is just the start of our friendship. As they flew back to the alien station, the three aliens were quiet. They were thinking about everything they had seen. It's amazing, said Yunji. They came so far to meet us. Yes, said Tadawan. But they also brought a lot of weapons with them. Daeho nodded. We need to be careful, he said. But I think the humans want to be friends. And if the Vorthax are real, we might need their help. They looked out the window at the Thunderchild. It was big and powerful, but was it a sign of peace or a warning of war? Only time would tell. As they docked with their station, they knew one thing for sure. The galaxy would never be the same again. The next day, the alien station was buzzing with excitement. Everyone wanted to talk about the humans and their big ship. Daeho called a meeting of the Galactic Council to discuss what to do next. We need to decide if we want to be friends with the humans. Daeho said, they have powerful weapons, but they also have much to teach us. Yunji stood up. I think we should trust them, she said. They seem kind and want to learn about us too. Taewon shook his head. We can't be too careful, he said. What if this Vorthax story is just a trick? Maybe the humans are the real danger. Just then, a young alien ran into the room. High Counselor, he said, the humans are calling. They want to talk again. Daeho nodded. Put them on the big screen, he said. Captain Jisoo's face appeared. She was smiling. Good morning, friends, she said. We have an idea we'd like to share with you. Go ahead, said Daeho. We want to learn more about your cultures, Jisoo said. And we want you to learn about us too. How about we have a cultural exchange? We can show you some of our art, music, and food. You can show us yours. The aliens looked at each other. This was not what they expected. That sounds nice, said Daeho. When would you like to do this? How about today? Jisoo said. We can come to your station, or you can come to our ship, whichever you prefer. Daeho thought for a moment. We'll come to your ship, he said, but only a small group. Jisoo nodded. Perfect. We'll get ready for you. A few hours later, Daeho, Yunji, and a few other aliens were on the Thunderchild. This time, they were in a big room with tables full of strange things. Sungmin, the human scientist, was there to explain everything. This is a cultural fair, he said. We have food, art, and music from Earth. Please, look around and ask questions. The aliens were amazed. There were paintings of beautiful places they had never seen. There were strange instruments that made wonderful sounds. And the food. It smelled so good, even though it looked very different from their own. Yunji tried something called ice cream. Her eyes got big. This is amazing, she said. It's cold but sweet. Daeho was looking at a model of a human city. Your buildings are so tall, he said. How do you build them? Sungmin smiled. We've had a lot of practice, he said. Maybe we can teach you someday. While they were talking, Tadawan was at another table. He was talking to Jaehwa, the human security chief. They were looking at pictures of human soldiers and weapons. Your military is very advanced, Tadawan said. He sounded impressed. Jaehwa nodded. We've had to be, she said. Space can be dangerous. But we hope we never have to use these weapons. As the day went on, the aliens started to relax. They laughed with the humans, tried new foods, and even danced to Earth music. It was hard to be scared of people who loved to dance and eat ice cream. At the end of the day, Captain Jisoo gathered everyone together. We have one more thing to show you, she said. She nodded to Sungmin, who pressed a button. The ceiling of the room seemed to disappear. Instead, they could see the stars and planets around them. It was like they were floating in space. This is a view of your part of the galaxy, Jisoo said. It's beautiful. The aliens were speechless. They had never seen their home like this before. We want to explore this galaxy with you, Jisoo said. Together, we can learn so much. What do you say? Will you be our friends and partners? Daho looked at the other aliens. They all nodded. Even Taiwan seemed to agree. Yes, said Daho. We would be honored to be your friends. Everyone cheered. Humans and aliens shook hands, hugged, and laughed together. It seemed like the start of a wonderful friendship. But far away, in a dark part of space, something was moving. The Vorx had heard about the new alliance, and they were not happy. The galaxy was changing. But was it ready for what was coming next? A week had passed since the cultural exchange. Humans and aliens were becoming good friends. They shared stories, learned from each other, and even started working on projects together. One day, Daho was in his office on the alien station. He was reading a report about a new type of engine the humans had taught them to build. Suddenly, all the lights turned red. A loud alarm started to sound. Daho jumped up. What's happening? He asked. Taewon's voice came over the speaker. High Counselor, come to the control room quickly. We have a big problem. Daho ran to the control room. When he got there, he saw Taiwan and Yunja looking at a big screen. Their faces were very worried. What is it? Daho asked. Taiwan pointed at the screen. Look, he said, many ships are coming. They're not ours, and they're not human. Daho looked closely. He saw hundreds of strange ships moving towards them. They were black and shaped like sharp knives. Have they said anything? Daho asked. Yunji shook her head. No, she said, but they're moving very fast. They'll be here soon. Just then, Captain Jisu's face appeared on another screen. She looked serious. Galactic Council, she said, we see the ships too. We think it's the Vorx. The room got very quiet. Everyone remembered the stories about the dangerous empire that destroyed planets. What should we do? Daho asked. We need to get ready to fight, Jisu said. Can your ships join with ours? Taewon nodded. Yes, he said. But we don't have many fighting ships. Most of ours are for science or trade. That's okay, Jisu said. Every ship can help. We'll protect each other. Daho turned to his people. Send a message to all our worlds, he said. Tell them to be ready. The Vorx are coming. For the next few hours, everyone worked hard. The alien ships flew next to the Thunderchild. They made a line in space, ready to protect their homes. Yunji was scared, but she tried to be brave. She helped get the station ready in case they had to fight. Taiwan was on one of the alien ships, telling the others what to do. Suddenly, a new face appeared on the big screen. It wasn't human or any alien they knew. It had gray skin, no hair, and eyes that glowed red. People of this sector, the face said in a cold voice. We are the Vorx. Your worlds now belong to us. If you fight, you will die. If you give up, you may live as our slaves. You have 1 hour to decide. The screen went dark. Everyone looked at each other, not sure what to do. We can't give up, Daho said. We must fight. But how? Yunji asked. There are so many of them. Just then, Jisu's face came back on the screen. Friends, she said, we've faced the Vorx before. They're strong, but they can be beaten. If we work together, we have a chance. What's your plan? Daho asked. Jisu smiled a little. The Thunderchild has some tricks the Vorx don't know about, she said. And your ships are faster than theirs. If we use our strengths together, we can win. Daho looked at his people. They were scared, but he saw something else in their eyes too. Hope. Okay, Daho said. We'll fight with you. What do you need us to do? Jisu started to explain her plan. As she talked, the aliens started to feel more confident. Maybe they could win this fight. But time was running out. The Vorx ships were getting closer and closer. Soon, the battle would begin. Daho looked out the window at the stars. He thought about all the people on all the worlds counting on them. We have to win, he said quietly. We have to. The biggest fight in the history of the galaxy was about to start, and no one knew how it would end. The hour was almost up. The Vorx ships were very close now. Everyone could see them clearly through the windows of the alien station. They looked even scarier up close. Captain Jisoo's voice came over the speakers. "Is everyone ready?" she asked. "Ready," said Daho. He was on the alien station, helping to control their ships. "Ready," said Tadwan. He was in one of the alien fighter ships, leading a group of pilots. Yunji was on the station too. She wasn't a fighter, but she was helping in other ways. She was making sure everyone had what they needed. "Okay," said Jisoo. "Remember the plan. Our big ships will attack first. When the Vorx are busy with us, the alien ships will attack from the sides. We can do this." Just then, the Vorx leader appeared on the screen again. "Your time is up," he said. "What is your answer?" Daho took a deep breath. "We choose to fight," he said. "This is our home, and we won't give it up." The Vorx leader's red eyes glowed brighter. "Then you choose to die," he said. The screen went dark. For a moment, everything was quiet. Then suddenly, the space lit up with bright lights. The Vorx ships were firing their weapons. "Now," shouted Jisoo. The Thunderchild moved forward. It fired its big guns. Bright beams of energy shot out, hitting several Vorx ships. The ships exploded in big balls of fire. The other ships started fighting too. Lasers and energy beams flew everywhere. It looked like a light show, but it was very dangerous. Taiwan led his group of ships around the side. They were small and fast. They flew between the big Vorx ships, shooting at them. "It's working," Taiwan shouted. "They can't hit us." But the Vorx had many ships. They kept coming, firing their weapons. Some of the alien ships were hit. They exploded or floated away, broken. On the station, Yunji was helping injured aliens. She was scared, but she kept working. "We have to win," she said to herself. "We have to." The battle went on for a long time. The Thunderchild was amazing. It could take many hits without breaking. Its weapons were very strong. But there were so many Vorx ships. "We need to do something big," Jisoo said, "or we'll lose." Daho had an idea. "What if we use the station's engines?" He said. "We could make a big explosion. It might surprise the Vorx." "But that's dangerous," Yunji said. "We could all die." "It's risky," Jisoo agreed, "but it might work. Can you do it?" Daho nodded. "Yes, but we need time." "We'll give you time," Jisoo said. "Taiwan, bring your ships back to protect the station. We'll keep the Vorx busy." The Thunderchild moved forward again. It went right into the middle of the Vorx ships. It was hit many times, but it kept fighting. On the station, Daho and Yunji worked fast. They changed how the engines worked. They made them ready to explode. "It's ready," Daho said, "but we need to get everyone off the station." "I'll send ships to pick you up," Jisoo said. "Get ready to leave." Small human ships came to the station. They took all the aliens away. Daho was the last to leave. He looked back at his home one last time. "Now," shouted Jisoo. Daho pressed a button. The station's engines started to glow very bright. Then there was a huge explosion. It was so bright that everyone had to close their eyes. When they could see again, many of the Vorx ships were gone. The ones left were moving away fast. "We did it," Taiwan shouted. "They're running away." Everyone started to cheer. Humans and aliens hugged each other. They were so happy to be alive. But the battle wasn't over yet. The Vorx leader was still out there. And he was very, very angry. The battle was over, but there was still much to do. The Thunderchild and the alien ships chased the last Vorx ships away. Everyone was tired but happy. They had won. Captain Jisoo called for a big meeting. All the important humans and aliens came together on the Thunderchild. They met in a large room with a big window showing the stars. "We did a great thing today," Jisoo said. "We worked together and beat the Vortex. But they might come back. We need to be ready." Daeho stood up. He looked sad but determined. "Our station is gone," he said. "Many of our ships too. We need help to rebuild." Jisoo nodded. "We will help you," she said. "That's what friends do." Taewon, who had fought bravely in the battle, spoke next. "We need to learn how to fight better," he said. "Can you teach us?" "Of course," said Jaehwa, the human security chief. "We can train together." Eun-jae had been quiet, but now she spoke up. "What about the other aliens who don't know about the Vortex?" she asked. "We should warn them." Everyone agreed this was a good idea. They decided to send ships to other parts of the galaxy. These ships would tell others about the Vortex and invite them to join their new alliance. "We need a name for our alliance," said Daeho. "Something that shows we're all working together." They thought for a while. Then Jisoo had an idea. "How about the Galactic Unity?" she said, "because we're bringing the galaxy together." Everyone liked this name. They all agreed to call their new group the Galactic Unity. For the next few weeks, humans and aliens worked hard. They built new ships and a new space station. The new station was even bigger than the old one. It had places for humans and all kinds of aliens to live and work together. One day, Daeho was looking out a window on the new station. He saw human and alien ships flying together. He saw people from different worlds talking and laughing. Jisoo came to stand next to him. "What are you thinking?" she asked. Daeho smiled. "I'm thinking about how everything has changed," he said. "When we first saw your ship, we were scared. Now we're building a new future together." Jisoo nodded. "It's amazing what we can do when we work together," she said. Just then, Eun-jae ran into the room. She looked excited. "We got a message," she said. "A group of aliens from far away heard about us. They want to join the Galactic Unity." Daeho and Jisoo looked at each other and then smiled. Their alliance was growing. "Let's go welcome them," said Jisoo. As they walked to the meeting room, Taewon joined them. "I just finished training with some human fighters," he said. "They're really good. And I learned so much from the human scientists," Eun-jae added. "We're making new discoveries every day." They entered the big meeting room. It was full of humans and aliens, all talking excitedly. Everyone quieted down when they saw Daeho and Jisoo. Daeho looked around the room. He saw faces of all shapes and colors. Some had tentacles, some had fur, some looked almost human. But they were all working together, all part of the same team. "Friends," Daeho said, "a few weeks ago, we were strangers. We were scared of each other. But look at us now. We've faced a great danger together and won. We've learned from each other and grown stronger." Jisoo stepped forward. "The galaxy is a big place," she said. "There's still a lot we don't know. The Vortex might come back. There might be other dangers out there, but whatever comes, we'll face it together." Everyone cheered. Humans and aliens alike clapped and shouted happily. As Daeho looked around, he thought about how it all started. With one big ship that scared them at first. Now that ship, the Thunderchild, was a symbol of their friendship and strength. The galaxy was entering a new era. An era of unity, discovery, and hope. And it all began when aliens saw a human battleship for the first time, and their reactions were priceless.